What is happening, guys? Mike here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing a review of the ByVilain Gold Digger, and I know. What the crap are we doing here? What are we doing this for? And well, if you're one of the people that follow Slick Hair TV and the ByVilain line, you already know that they did a little update to the line, and with that update came some formula changes. And if you're not one of those people that follows them, well, you just found out. You just got told. They did some updates to their line, and with those updates came some formula changes, as so I'm told. I'm told specifically, actually, from ByVilain themselves, that the formula changes were done to make the products easier to use, and they actually come from the fact that they're being made with higher quality equipment, which makes perfect sense to me as a product maker myself. It makes perfect sense. Some of those little things can result in some slight formula changes, but obviously that led to some questions. You know, what's different? How does it perform? Things like that. And I'm just going to make it easy. I'm going to make it super easy. I'm going to review all of them all over again. I'm just going to go through the line. They sent me the entire line. I'm just going to go through all of them, and I'm going to review them all for you here, starting first with the famous Gold Digger wax. And according to ByVilain, this is an extreme hold matte finish hair wax that is actually a mixture of oil and water base. This means there's water and petro in the formula, but since water is the first ingredient, I think that technically qualifies this as being water based, but you know, that's a debate for another day. They also say this adds fullness and texture with all day hold and control, of course, and it sells on their site for $22 US, but you can actually get 10% off that with code MMTV if you're interested in checking this out. Looking inside the jar here now, we got a familiar looking product here. Visibly, it actually looks the same as it always has. The big change right here is in the scoop, though. You can see it's even slicker than the prior formula that we had on this. I mean, it's almost creamy, actually, which is pretty nice. It's very smooth, too, in the hand. It breaks down like nothing, really, which is very new for this product, actually, to have that great of a breakdown. Now, though, I'm going to throw it into my hair and show you guys what I found when I tested this out. I prefer to actually use this one in dry hair. I did test it on both damp and dry, and in this case, I will say that this is actually the same. It works better for me in dry hair, so I'm going to use it this way here in the demo. And for those of you that are saying, well, it's always been too dry for me to use on dry hair, take a look at this here. This is one of the big changes with the new formula. This is my hair fully blow dried, no extra tonics or pre-stylers or anything like that, and that's just so you could see the performance of the wax by itself. And again, one of the big changes to this formula is the application. It's seriously a cakewalk compared to what it was before. I mean, this glides through the hair. It used to be so much drier, so much stickier than it is right now. And let me tell you, it is creamy, it's slick, it just flies right through the hair. And what makes this even more crazy to me personally is I actually have to use a second scoop. This is something that I've never had to do with Gold Digger before. I have always been just like a one and done styler with Gold Digger, but here I can tell that I didn't get the usual holding effect off of that one scoop. So I did actually go in with a second one here, and then it started to feel much more familiar to me. Even after both scoops, though, I can still get the comb out and sculpt my style there. There's no issue to report, like it holding up the comb or ripping hair out or anything like that. And you can see that it adds in a bit of texture there. Not a lot, honestly, but the fullness is for sure added. That is a definite result that I'm seeing here. And here's the final style that I was able to come up with here. A nice high part that's held in place with no hairspray, no extras of any kind, just the wax with the matte finish and a nice light texture. Here now is that same style 4 hours later. I do think there's a tiny bit of movement there, not a whole lot, and overall I think it's probably looking pretty good here. Nothing really to report. 8 hours in, though, I do think we are seeing a bit more loss in the volume there. I think it would be fair to say there's a little deflation there. Nothing I'm too worked up over, though. The shape overall and the style is still intact there, which is really what means the most to me. Moving on now, though, to the scent of the product. This is really easy. It's the same scent that it's always been on Gold Digger. I have no idea what this scent is. I've never been told what it is. I don't know if I've ever even seen a description of it. It's not a cologne. It's not anything, you know, like those great scents that are out there. It's not a bad scent. I'm really used to it. I've been using Gold Digger for years now. I mean, it's one of the first products I ever bought, so I'm extremely used to this scent. It's not a bad one, but honestly, I do wish that they'd come up with something better to match the product. They came out with like a special edition Gold Digger years ago that had a killer scent on it, and I really wish that they would have just ran with that for the official scent, but it's not a huge deal to me. You can't really smell it in the hair. It's nothing too crazy, but it is the same scent that it's always been. The washout, though, this is a big improvement here on this new formula. This is a straight up water rinse, which for me is not a huge deal because I have actually had a pretty easy time washing it out with Gold Digger, you know, the prior formulas, but I have seen some people say it was harder for them to get it out. This one here, it's water-based. Technically, water's the first ingredient on the list, so I'm calling it water-based. This one here rinsed out so much easier. I mean, it just flew out of my hair with water, completely fell out. You can even see it on your hands. You know, you got some on your hands, put it under some water, it just falls right off your hands too. So I do think that that's a really cool thing to achieve. It's really big for a formula that contains petro too. So I think they really stepped the game up on the washout. Now though, for my final verdict on this one, was there massive changes to the Gold Digger wax? I don't think overall there really was some just, you know, mind-blowing changes. I do think that overall they made some strong improvements here in some key areas, you know, like application, washability. I think they made some strong improvements in those areas. I do think though, in order to do that, they had to lower a few things like the potency of the product. And I do think that makes sense, you know, when you have to sacrifice some things in order to gain on some other areas. So in order to make it easier to apply, less dry, less sticky, you do sacrifice some of the potency of the product. And I think also we can say that the endurance probably was a bit lax too. I think though, if I had used a pre-styler, I think it probably would have been a completely different story, you know. But is using 2 scoops that big a deal to me? No, it's not. I do think that with those 2 scoops, I do get the same great, awesome, reliable style that I have always gotten with the Gold Digger wax. And really what I think here is the changes to the formulas just made it easier for more people to use it. I think this now opens up this product to people with thin or fine hair as well as people with thick hair, because really it always had the hold to control thick hair. It was just sometimes hard to apply for some people in thick hair, with thick hair I should say, which now I think they made those nice changes. They made it slicker, they made it easier to apply, and I think that's going to benefit you guys with thicker hair. I also think it's going to be easier for you guys to apply with thinner or finer hair, because I saw some of you saying it was so grippy it would pull your hair out and things like that, and when you have finer hair, you know, you really don't want that. I do think that they made this less dry, they made it less grippy, they made some major improvements in those areas. And yes, I am really happy with the changes. I think it worked out really well. I will keep this in my rotation for sure. And if you want to try this out, remember you can get this at the Slick Hair shop. There is a link in the description there. Just follow that directly, use my link and use my code. Actually, it's just MMTV. You can save 10% if you're interested in checking this or anything else out at the Slick Hair shop. That is it though for this review of the Gold Digger wax. I will have the rest of the line coming up very soon here though. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you help me out by tapping that like button there, and if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. That's a huge help to me. I really appreciate you guys doing that. Take it easy. I'll see you next time.